I'm sure you're familiar with the following scenario. You're in a conversation about faith with a skeptic, and suddenly he or she makes this comment which you simply don't know how to respond to. I've been there, and yes, it feels very uncomfortable. Or maybe you've never actually dared to get yourself into such conversations out of fear of this exact issue. What do I do when I don't know the answer? In this video, I will share with you some of the uncomfortable episodes I've gone through and what they've taught me. Shortly after I came to believe in God in my early 20s, I remember one day one of my co-workers during lunch break started talking about how life is essentially about making as much money as possible so that you can have as much fun as possible. I directly replied, "Well, that's so selfish." To which he immediately rejoined by saying, "Yes, it is, but so what?" I was taken completely off guard. I remember this moment so well, it felt like my mind went frantically looking for an answer, but it simply couldn't find anything. And so all I could say was, "I don't know actually." To which the other dude replied with a sarcastic smile, "Yeah, that's what I thought." I felt like a failure, super vulnerable and obviously embarrassed. And I felt like I not only missed an opportunity to have a meaningful conversation about the gospel, but I felt like I actually did a disservice to the gospel by showing this other guy how dumb I was. When I look back to moments such as these, I kind of cringe, honestly, because I can still feel in my bones the discomfort of the situation. Now, maybe you never messed up as badly as I did in that case, but you're still all too familiar with the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So I thought I'd offer a couple of thoughts on this matter. First of all, if this happens to you, know that this is normal. It happens to everyone, both Christians and atheists. Maybe it's just me, but I can't think of anyone who would claim that they've never gone blank in a discussion. Well, Jesus would be the exception, I suppose, but for the rest of us, this happens. It doesn't make those scenarios any more comfortable, I know, but it at least puts them into proper perspective. Second, if you're faced with a question you don't know how to answer, just be honest about it and say that you have to look into it. In a conversation I had not too long ago, I was asked a very complex question that simultaneously touched on the initial state of the angels, free will, our future state in heaven, and the concept of God's presence. It was the very first time I was faced with that particular question, and I knew right away that I wouldn't be able to give a satisfying answer off the top of my head. So I said, "You know what? That's a really good question, and one which I've honestly never thought of. Let me look into it and get back to you." The person I was talking to said, "Yeah, sure, that's fine." So that's what I did, and a week later I got back to my friend with an answer I thought was solid. My friend agreed and actually thanked me for taking his question seriously. It's fine to not know something and be honest about it. In fact, I believe people will appreciate you more if you're honest and say that because you haven't looked into an issue properly, you'd rather hold back with an answer. What you're indicating is that you care about truth and that accuracy and honesty in your communication is more important to you than saving face. Yes, taking this route does take a bit of courage, but remember that being a Christian is about far more than spitting out the right answers at any given moment. It's about character. And so by throwing out some half-baked answer, you're actually distorting what it means to be a Christian by putting your pride before truth. Which leads me to my next point. To be a Christian is to be a learner. In the original Greek, the word translated as disciple in the New Testament, mathetes, basically means someone who learns or a learner. So if you're a disciple of Jesus, you're bound to come across stuff you don't know yet, and your job is to learn it. In fact, something would be kind of wrong with you as a disciple if you knew the answer to every single question. So you should naturally expect that every now and then you'll have to respond to someone's question by saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer, but I will look into this." And you should be happy when this happens because it's an opportunity for you to do exactly what a disciple of Jesus is supposed to do. To learn. So may you grow in courage to admit that you haven't figured it all out, and may you always value honesty and truth more than your own reputation. Speaking of truth, watch this video which talks about how a skeptical friend of mine came to embrace the truth that prayer actually works, even though he used to write it off as nothing but a mental exercise. Check it out, don't forget to subscribe, and see you over there. Bye.